David in Texas. Hi, David.
Hey, Eddie, how's it going, man?
I'm good, man. What's going on today?
Not much, man. Still waiting for you to come to San Antonio again.
Again? I've never been.
Well, no, I meant from the last call that I told you. I was on YouTube the other day. I was streaming videos from like Metal Church and Metallica and everything, and every once in a while these things come up of reaction videos, and you'll get somebody that does, by just the way they talk or whatever, that they're not a metalhead, or they're not into that type of music, but they're looking at it, and I don't know how to word it, whatever. It bothers the shit out of me, and it kind of falls into that category where you say like the Kardashians, they impose using rock as rock is fun now to use as something like they use it in arenas now, like it's a fun thing to do. And I wanted to get your opinion on it because I don't know if you've seen them or not, these reaction videos.
Oh, you mean like when somebody that's clearly like I think I know what you're talking about, like a guy who's into opera hears King Diamond or something, right? Like one of those deals.
Yeah, or people that listen to rap or whatever. Now they're listening to Slayer, South of Heaven, or something, And now they're like, oh my God, what is this? Blah blah blah. Now that that they don't listen to it. I was just wondering if you've seen those. And I wanted to get your reaction on that, what you thought. I'm going to go ahead and hang up and listen to what you got to say about it.
Thank you, David. I honestly didn't. I've seen those things fly by on YouTube and stuff, and I honestly don't look at them. I've never really seen them. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. It's just, somebody's trying to get clicks and get attention and get exposure for whatever they're doing and just build up clicks. I mean, it's just not something that I'm interested in. I get it. The person's going to be like dumbfounded that someone can sing like that, or somebody into hip hop is going to hear Slayer and not know what to make of it, or vice versa. Whatever. It's not anything that I overly ever spent any time really looking at. Thank you for the call. Mike in New York. Go ahead, Mike.
Hello, Ed. I heard a few rumors that iTunes is going to shut down.
Not rumors. It's happening.
All right, so my thousands of songs I have downloaded. Any idea what I'm going to do with them?
They will continue. Yeah, you'll be fine. I've gotten a lot of calls about this on my volume show. Actually, people wondering what's going to happen with their iTunes and the stuff that they've bought and sold. I don't know it inside out, Mike, but my understanding is they're just basically going to divide the different areas of iTunes up into like 3 different apps. But by every account of people I've talked to, you are not going to lose your stuff that you purchased, and you'll still be able to operate that program. And I also think if you're a PC user, what I was told is it really won't have any impact at all the way it works on your PC. I think it's more for people who have the program on an Apple computer, which of course there's many, but I have a PC, so I don't really know. But I'm pretty confident that they're not that stupid that they would, after all this time telling, with iTunes and how many people have stuff in iTunes, that you're just going to turn your computer on one day and it's all gone. That would be a nightmare.
All right, excellent. Thank you. Play some Pagan's Mind, please.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, a lot of people are concerned about that, and for good reason, but I think you'll be okay. I think there will be some way to keep access to that stuff, at least. This is Jeff, who is in L.A., California, or Louisiana. Where are you, Jeff?
I'm in the metal capital of the world, Los Angeles.
Is that really the metal capital of the world?
Well, you're at the Rainbow about once a month, so you tell me, bro.
Well, there's a lot of great metal that came out of there, but some would say Birmingham, England, because that's where Sabbath was born. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know what the metal capital, but certainly L.A. has given us plenty of great rock music over the years. You can't argue that.
Well, I'm from the 80s, so I'm ahead, what I'm listening to your channel for is, I'm a Rat, Motley Crue, Van Halen guy, so we feel we kind of own it over here. So
as you should, if that's your scene, as you should. Yep.
Eddie, the problem is this, okay? I live in Los Angeles, and we have 50 radio stations, okay? And what comes here goes across the nation. And we're down to one rock station, okay? And the one rock station can't do it all. And we had another rock station that went away, and it's a religious station. Don't ask me why. And what I've been told, it doesn't really do well. What the deal is this. Everybody who grows up now in this generation in L.A. is listening to Britney Spears, Taylor Swift, and they don't know about the great groups that came out of the 70s, 80s, and 90s and the great music, because we have no stations that play them. Now, we can go on Hair Nation here, if you've got the money, right? Mm-hmm. Or we could go ahead and download it on YouTube or whatever. But I have a son who's 20, and he wears Metallica, and he wears Def Leppard shirts. I said, do you know any of their songs? He says, no. I said, why are you wearing the shirt? He says, because they're cool. And I said, well, how come you don't listen to their music? Well, they're not on the radio. We need to get these people, especially in this area where we have a lot of Hispanic stations that don't do well, on the FM and throughout the country, and try a pirate radio like, what's his name, from New York, your DJ out there. God, he did it here in the 80s, and he was Scott Shannon. And it took off. He played all the hair bands. He played rock. He played new bands. The band you had on, okay, Sammy Hagar. Okay, that was a great song. We'll never hear it again. Not here unless you play it.
Well, I get what you're saying, Jeff, but here's the deal. I can't speak to what's going on with local LA radio, but here is my observation as a lifelong radio guy, and thank you, Jeff, for the call. You radio in the law for what you're looking for in radio. My experience is this: the larger the market, the worse the radio is. Meaning the least adventurous, the least risk-taking, the least diverse it is. The larger the market, the worse it is. So, you're in Los Angeles, which is the second biggest market in the country. And it makes sense that would also be the place where it is among the worst for rock music on the radio. Because in a market like that, the stakes are so high for advertising revenue and something called CUME, which is short for cumulative, which means the average amount of people that listen to a radio station in a quarter hour. AQH is another term that's in terrestrial radio. It stands for average quarter hour. The idea is they want the most people listening consistently to not go to the preset and not change the channel. And in each market, they find research and demographics to tell them where the void is and what they should be playing to fill that hole. Radio ownership groups do not care what format they are playing. They don't care what genre of music they are playing for you. All they care about is identifying what they should be doing that can get them the most listeners in a certain demographic that they can sell advertising to. That's all they're looking for. If that's polka, if that's hip-hop, if that's country, if that's jazz, if that's 80s rock, 70s rock, new rock, they need to find their niche, they need to chase it, they need to lock it in and own it. That's all they care about. So, the stakes are super high in markets like New York and LA, where these are the biggest markets in the country, the most amount of people, and the most money at stake. And they feel that whatever they're doing format-wise in those markets is what best serves that audience and makes them the most money. It's as simple as that. Do I agree with it? Do I like it? Of course not. I wish there were stations more dedicated to rock music. But here's the counter to that. First of all, in L.A., you do have two rock stations. You've got K-Rock, which is the alternative station that's been wildly successful for years. Is it your kind of rock? Clearly not. Is it successful? Clearly. And you also have KLOS, which I believe is still there. And, you know, I don't live in L.A., but they do what they do. And so you've got two in that market. Here in New York City, there's one. And it's a classic rock station that plays virtually no new music. In the New York City market. Now, in the suburbs, there are others. Here's something else I noticed, and this is why my observation, I believe, is true about the bigger the market, the worse diverse the radio is going to be. The worse you're going to have of it hearing different things. I spend a ton of time in smaller markets. I was just in Oklahoma City, and I was just in Tulsa this past week. Jumping around through the dial in my rental car, I came across like 5 rock or versions of rock stations in Tulsa alone, playing a way wider net of rock music I would ever hear anywhere else. Tulsa's a smaller market. Oklahoma City's a smaller market. They find out what works in those places and does it. As far as it driving kids to listen to that sort of music, I don't know a lot of kids that listen to the radio. Period. If I'm being honest, I mean, they don't. I don't know a lot of kids that watch TV. They don't. They're getting everything from the computer. YouTube, Netflix, whatever it is. That's where the listening's happening. So if, I think it was his son, wanted to discover and listen to bands he's wearing T-shirts from, in 2 seconds he could click on a link and hear it. You have to want to hear it. And I'm telling you guys, and I talk about it all the time, and I understand the channel that I am broadcasting on right now specializes in 80s hard rock. But the reason why this channel exists here on Sirius XM and is important in doing that is because that stuff largely is not touched on terrestrial radio. Regardless of how popular it is not touched. There is still an enormous bias in mainstream terrestrial radio against 80s hard rock, compounded by the fact that people continue to call it by a name that was invented to marginalize it and make it be derogatory. Hair band, hair metal. Continue to call it that, you continue to feed right into the reasons why the mainstream continues to treat it like a second-class citizen, regardless of the fact that it sold millions of records. Just a fact. See it every day. If you think, that you're going to hear 90% of what you hear on this channel on terrestrial radio, they wouldn't touch it in 1,000 years. Unless it was some weekend special hour. Just the way it is. It's unfortunate, but it's just the way it is.